All right. So once again, welcome to the 2024 fall season. It's going to be a busy next couple months for all of us here. Um, we we've got a number of different things to go through tonight. We're going to go through some important documents for not just our white hats and umpires, but the entire crew. It's good for everybody to see a copy of this. A lot of these documents come out from our meetings at the AGM where we're trying to be more consistent on the field. And of course, like always, as we are finalizing our documents for tonight's meeting, our partners in the NBIA coaching ranks have decided to change a couple things. So we'll talk about that as we go through. Al's got 6 to 7 videos to kind of just go through real quick tonight, and then we'll be wrapping it up. Al's going to be the driver for the most part because I have a very important fantasy draft that starts in a half hour. So I'm going to get through my stuff pretty quick here. All right, so let's go to slide 1. Every year we talk about things to do to get ready for the season. Last year I had a bunch of suggestions. CFOA exam, we are probably 90% of our members completed. There are a few we're still waiting for the exams to come in. So your exams are done. Study the new rules. Make sure you study mechanics this week, depending on the crews that you're in. Study your signals in the rule book. It's always good to go through those one more time. If you haven't had a chance to watch film, you'll get to see some film tonight. And last but not least, we're going to go through these white hat and umpire documents. Go to the next one, Bill. Or Al. All right. So this first form is a form most white hats have seen this form at some point. This was a form that was designed by Bill Pickerel back in the day, but it's basically just a checklist of things to talk about before going out to the field with your crew. So talk about positioning, how you want penalties handled, ball handling, communication, and other items. All right. So this shouldn't be new to any white hat or umpire in this group, but if it is, make sure you have this in your kit bag, because it's a great reference tool to have when you're starting those pre-game discussions with your crew. Any questions on this document? Any thoughts? No? All right, let's go over to document number 2. And you should have all received an email from Ian probably within the last half hour or so with these documents, okay? So this one here is our pre-game communication with coaches and captains. So when you're going out to meet with the coaches, I know when I first started white hatting, I was lucky I'd have a Fowler or Kenny Poirier or somebody beside me that would help me through those conversations. But this is a checklist of things you want to talk about during that meeting with the coaches. Okay, first of all, you're going to do the introductions. You're going to get the release sign form. Talk about special plays, numbering. Is numbering good on the teams? Is there something? Do we have a player that's playing out of position is based on their number that we're going to have to report for a series for the game, whatever the case would be? The crew is doing their walk around looking for any unusual conditions or ground rules, and it may be something you want to talk with the coaches as well. Talk about scrimmage kicks. You know, depending on the wind, you might want to talk about blowing it down dead. Are there onside players? You know, you can get all those questions up front. Penalty procedure. How do you want to deal with that? Do you want to deal with the coach one-on-one? Do you want to deal with the captains in the middle of the field? It's always a good talking point as well. And then after you're done your coaches meeting, you're going to have your meeting with the captains as you're about to do your coin toss. And there's a few things there that you can talk about as well. I know one of the things that I always tell the captains at the coin toss is I put the onus on them that when the whistle's blown, the play is over, and anything that takes place after that whistle, I put on their shoulders so that they're in trying to help clean up that stuff before we have to throw any flags in dead ball situations. So these are just two checklists to have in your back pocket as you're going to meet with coaches and captains pregame. All right, let's head over to the next document. So this is a document that's going to change a little bit. So one of the things that again, consistency became a big thing in our big conversation at our AGM this year. And some of us white hats do things a little bit differently. We come out of the dressing room a little at different times. The coin toss was always, up for discussion how we handled that. And coaches wanted to have a better understanding of what's going to happen on game day from a consistency standpoint. So this is the document that we created, and this document has been changed. Perry Kokkonen sent this out to the NBA coaches today, and the coaches all kind of got a little crazy because they want the coin toss right before kickoff, like we've done in years past at the high school level. As the NBFOA, we did not get invited to the high school AGM this year, so we didn't get to talk about it live with the coaches. So we will alter this document and get it back out to you. The coin toss will be just before kickoff, and halftime is 12 minutes for the NBIA this year.
Ray, I encourage you to push back on that coin toss.
I
Let me tell you why, and then I'll drop it, I promise.
Yeah.
If these coaches know what they're doing going into the locker room, especially at the lower levels, there's less dicking around when the game is about to get started, and we can start on time and everything's more crisp. If we do it right before the game starts, there's an extra 5 or 10 minutes while the kickoff team and et cetera gets out there. I encourage you to push back on that.
Jack, I have been pushing back all day on this scenario. The schools that are leading this discussion are the schools that have a dressing room further away from the field. And soon as that coach's meeting's over, he wants his players in the dressing room for their pregame meetings. And he feels he's going to lose their captains, or they feel they're going to lose their captains by us doing this coin toss, the home team having to wait for the visiting team to have their discussion. I tried to tell these guys, like, these coaches,
all the more reason to go back to your dressing room and know what you're doing.
I've argued that all day. And the other thing is, I said to them, like, you guys have been in these meetings. A coach's meeting is 5 minutes. 10 at worst case, because they want us to check a rule or talk about a formation. Like, this stuff usually happens quick, especially week 1 of the season. But I've lost that argument today, and the coin toss will be just before the kickoff. But there's no question.
I said I'd drop it, but you heard my objection.
No, there's no question the NBFOA will be at the AGM next year to discuss these concerns that we're talking about right now.
How did they become in charge of when the coin toss is? Isn't that our call ultimately?
It's the league's call. It's the league's call that tells us how they want things done, and the league has decided that they want the coin toss before kickoff. Al, do you have anything you want to add on that?
Well, other than when you told me this afternoon, I was quite surprised, because when we did our exhibition on Thursday night, both coaches, one of whom now has turned his nose up to the idea of having the coin toss right after meeting with the coaches, told us, "Oh, this is great to have it now." And then they
all back said the same thing.
Yeah, so I don't understand the process at the higher level. We do it right after the coaches meeting, but like Ray says, this basically is a league issue that they want it done just before kickoff, so we oblige. Yeah. We just have to make sure that the coin toss is done.
But I want to be clear. If Jack, if kickoff's at 7 o'clock and you're still fooling around with captains, or you know, trying to get the captains out there and you're not getting out till 7:02, we throw a delay of game flag on these coaches. And I
Yeah,
know that's not the
I
way you
know. It
want to
just
start a
sets it
game.
off on it sets it off on such a shitty tone.
I totally get it, but I will back our officials all day long if I get emails from coaches about opening up with a, especially when we gave them this document in advance so that we'd all be ready to go right at kickoff time.
I hear what you're saying, and ideally I'd be for it, but throwing a flag before kickoff, it just sets a bad tone for the whole game. We're supposed to be collaborative, not jerks about things.
I agree. I agree. But this is a sticking point to me as far as how this was handled today.
So Ray,
All right.
Ray, do you have an
Oh.
idea what time they want us to do coin toss? Like how early?
Like 5 minutes before kickoff.
And
So-
then
And they gotta be out there
So-
10 minutes before kickoff.
and then we're talking about the national anthem after that.
That's a good point.
Well,
Andrew.
my point is, if we're doing it then, we're never going to start on time.
Right. So that's the pushback I'm going to go back to them with.
So
then.
just keep that in mind when you're talking to them. Like if they
So-
want 5 minutes before kickoff, well, if there's a national anthem in there, you're never starting. It's impossible to start on time.
So, you know, by the time you do start the anthem and the anthem, so you're talking 4 minutes there.
Yeah,
Would you guys agree to that?
yeah.
So
And then,
if we
and then you got to have them, well, close to a minute to get the teams on the field
Yeah.
after that anthem, because they always have to do their huddle.
So
Right?
I want captains at center field for the coin toss 10 minutes prior to the game.
That would be my suggestion. Does that sound right, Mr. Kingston?
I can live with that. I disagree, but I'll live with it.
No, I like it better earlier too, but I mean, if they're gonna do it this way, to do it at 5-2, you'll never start on time.
No, 10-2 anthem kickoff at the top of the hour. That makes perfect sense.
Okay, sounds good. I will go back to them tonight with that. All right, Al, next one.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is a document we put together. It's just game management hints for white hats. Okay. And you know, we've put a lot of effort into this document, but as the season goes, this is an open document. So if there's something that needs to be added to this document, let's get it added. I mean, this is basically just to make sure that as a national, as a membership, we're running games consistently with, you know, the way a White Hats run a game in St. John is going to be very similar to the way a White Hats run a game in Fredericton and Moncton. Okay. So I'm not going to go through this entire document, but please feel free to read through it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Ray, before you jump, oh, sorry, Ray, before you jump from this one, I know it's been discussed at a couple of different places. Referees, please take a note on number 4. And where did I just see this? And number 8. Make sure that you're focused on those as a referee. Get yourself where you should be so you can be seen. Give clear, strong signals and try to limit your movement when you're doing those things, whether it be penalty signals or down signals, whatever it happens to be. Give strong, clear ones and limit where you're moving. I know Bill Pickerel has alluded to it. Bill Glendenning used to always about being in the office, and our offices now should be set. If we're doing something up at near the line of scrimmage, we get out away from where the crowd is and give whatever signal it is needed at that time. If we don't need to be near the line of scrimmage, we should be back in close to our home position of 10 to 12 to 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, depending on what age group you're working, where you're giving blowing time in back in that spot. You might even be able to give your mechanics for downs back there. But just try and limit how much movement we're doing, and give good, strong signals. Sorry, carry on.
Yep, no, kind of stole my thunder from
Oh.
another slide, but that's okay, because you'll probably be delivering that slide.
Okay.
All right, let's go over to number 5. And number 5 is basically just to help you out with that halftime crew discussion as well as your post-game discussion. Just some talking points. One of the things I think we need to do a little bit better in our post-game discussions, we don't need these meetings to be an hour, right? Just a few minutes. What went positive? What do we need to talk about? And I know a lot of times we say, let's just discuss it at the pub. Well, that's great if the entire crew's going to the pub, but if somebody's not going, we need to make sure we have these discussions in the dressing room. And number 2 is, if you're working a game at Harrison Tremble and you plan on having a discussion at Cheers about the game, you just got to remember they're in the pub too, right? So if there's anything important, anything odd that happens in that game, let's have that quick discussion in the dressing room versus at the pub. All right. Any thoughts or comments on that? No? All right, let's go to page 6. All right. This is a great little document. Again, Bill Pickerel put this together, but it's the penalty application process. And it just, as a white hat, this is a great document to read through before you head out onto the field. It just helps you think about the right questions you need to be asking when you have multiple flags, even one flag. It helps you start processing the questions you should be asking during the penalty application process. Okay. Is it a single foul? Is it a dual foul? Is it a double foul? And each one of those, the point of application will be different. There's a number of different scenarios that could come in with all 3 of those items. So this document's going to help you walk through that. All right. So, and again, it doesn't matter if you're wearing the white hat at 12-man, 9-man, Bantam, Pee-wee. This is a document you want to have with you to help get you through these scenarios. Okay. There's no questions on that. We'll go to the last one. One more.
There we go.
All right. I like this document. So, again, this is another document that Bill Pickerel put together for us. And one of the toughest things, we talk about the kicking game being tough. Anytime you have a penalty near or in the end zone, these are where our any mistakes that we've had in evaluations, a lot of times it's around the kicking game or stuff that's taken place around the end zone. So white hats, I really encourage you to go through this document. There's a lot of great information here with references in your rule book. And it's going to help. It's going to help the crew. And this isn't just white hat. This is the entire crew. This is going to help the crew make the right decision when all these crazy different things can happen on the football field in this area of the field. So again, this is just a little cheat sheet, and I encourage you guys to review that heading into your games this weekend, because it's a great tool. Those are the referee/umpire documents I wanted to share with you guys. What are your thoughts on them? Any comments? Any suggestions?
You're gonna put them in the drive?
Yeah, well, you've got the documents, Dunfield, so you can feel free to drop them into the drive.
I like it. Every bit helps.
Good. Did we lose our sharing?
Sorry, Ray. My apologies.
No worries.
Is that where you want it?
I see your, right now, I see the link for the PowerPoint, but I don't see the PowerPoint.
How's that possible?
I think you got to open up the document, Al, and then share the screen
Oh,
after that.
shoot. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay. There we go.
Ray, as a white hat, are we allowed to go off script? There's a few things in there that I would rather not do if I was the
Okay,
white hat.
like, let's talk about them. What are you referring to, Eric?
Before we go, are we on screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
What document do you want to look at?
Oh, this can open a can of worms. So maybe I'll
Well,
leave it for another
Eric,
time.
before you even say it, yeah, put your own stamp on everything. These documents are a
Yes.
suggested guideline, and they don't have to be followed to the T. They're there to help. Yeah, we're all experienced guys. Just let's do our thing.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree with that. Like, these documents were put together to help us find consistency across the regions. But at the same token, if there's something you want to add to your pregame speech or add to your halftime talk, or like, you're the white hat, you've got to make the game your own. But these are just tools to help with success.
Perfect. Yep, that works. Thanks.
All right. Okay, Al, on to the next one. So that was document 7. Oh, we just lost this.
No, well, that was. What other document oh, shoot. It's in here. What other document it is that you want now?
Stop
Well,
watching
I guess,
Netflix, Al.
actually,
Sorry.
I've got it open here. So the next slide is your video review.
Okay, we're going jump before that. Okay.
Okay.
Are you still with me, Ray or Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay. You got that, everybody?
Yep.
NBF Way Fall 2024. What's on Netflix, Aaron?
I don't know. I was going to ask you.
Well, you just said you were watching Netflix.
Well, I told you stop watching Netflix. That's why you keep
Yeah.
glitching
Right.
out.
Sorry, I was switching out because it's all in different things. Anyhow, fall of 2024. Those of you who follow Facebook or follow the CFOA, this document was just released 2 days ago. This is for the case book dealing with Rule 110.8, where a player goes out of bounds. So I just thought I'd pull this up really quickly. This is the rule. You all have the rule. If you have a new rule book, you have this rule in it. Okay. So new case book clarification. So if A kicks off and B81 backs up to catch the ball and inadvertently steps out of bounds, in flight on its original trajectory and returns to the field of play to catch the ball, it's a 10-yard penalty. Team B 10-yard penalty for illegal participation. Apply a 10-yard penalty from the previous line of kickoff or decline and let the play stand. Okay. Or after the ball has bounced off the ground, ruling Team B 10-yard penalty for illegal participation. Apply 10-yard penalty from the previous line of kickoff or decline and let the play stand. Or just after he catches the ball, he steps out of bounds. It's going to be, that's where the possession's going to be, because they stepped out of bounds and killed the play. That should be while standing on the sideline. Team B, ball at the point with a 10-yard penalty for illegal participation. So that is part of the case book. This is the last part. If A1 kicks off, A72 goes out of bounds to avoid being blocked, gets downfield and jumps on the ball. The ruling is A72 has gone out of bounds and should remain out of bounds. If they do come back in and get involved in the play, they're called for illegal participation with a 10-yard penalty from the previous line of kickoff, or the penalty can be declined and let it stand. So that was just released a couple of days ago. It is available on the CFOA website if you wish to take a look at it. It's just clarification on how we apply penalties with the new player going out of bounds stuff.
Al, can I ask?
Yes.
This is different than what we were doing.
This is the case book for, well, how is it different?
Well, as an example, a receiver, or not a receiver, a returner catching the ball with 1 foot on the sideline, that was considered illegal participation, but the penalty was applied at the point of possession. And we're saying this has to go back and re-kick it.
No, look at D. So the returner is standing on the sideline. It's team B ball where they caught it, and a 10-yard penalty for illegal participation.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But the
That's-
ones where he steps out and comes back in, like A and B,
Yeah.
even those, we applied those at the point of possession.
Yeah,
Did we not?
and the next one as well, E, I think it is.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to lean with you on that one.
Well, that's a dangerous move on your
I
behalf.
know the last
I'd like
one's
to know that.
okay, but A,
Go back to the last one again.
But A and B
A and
were
B.
always applied at point of possession.
yeah, A and B look wrong.
The
That's
last
just,
one you showed is from the previous line of kickoff as well.
Yeah, that shouldn't be in there. Hold it
I'm
now.
gonna say this.
Oh, no,
I'm
yes,
gonna
it
say
is,
this
Bill.
Again, one time.
yeah.
When-
How
When,
many
no.
times are we gonna change this until we
oh, I
get the
know.
damn
It's
thing
fun, isn't
right?
it, Bill?
Okay, Bill, the last one is correct.
Yes. That's a change this year.
Okay, that is
Okay.
where
If it's-
team A player
If
goes
it's
out of
against
bounds.
Team A, Bill, that's the
Yep,
key
you're
here.
right. My
Yeah.
mistake.
So it's just the wording on these two.
But
We should
those,
not be going back to the original kickoff line.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm correct on that. I'm not saying I
I-
am. I think I am correct, right?
I'm leaning with you on that one, yeah.
Anyone else want to chime in on that?
I agree with what you said.
Those are always point of possession fouls, back 10, B keeps the ball.
Only on a kickoff.
Correct.
So that part of it, I believe, I agree with you, is incorrect, and I will find out, Loris.
Because if it's not incorrect, these are different applications
yeah.
that we've done in the past.
I agree.
That's all I can say.
I agree. Okay, so the first two will have to be checked for sure. And I will get back to you on it. Come on, why is that not moving? Okay. Advisors, I forget who was standing with me. It might have been Andrew Lockery that was standing with me, and we brought this young man over to us. He plays for St. Malachy's High School. If you look at it, it doesn't look like very much of a tint. It is a pink tint. If it's and it is an Oakley, and Oakley calls it a clear pink. It's not a clear visor. If he turns and faces us, which I couldn't take a full facial picture of him, you can barely see the tint in that. A note has come out from our body, and it's sort of following along the lines of the National Federation High School that suggests that if an official believes that its visor may have a tint, they are advised to use their game card, or what we call our penalty card, and place it behind it. And if there's any change in the color of that penalty card, that visor must be removed. There are no exceptions. Okay, so just as we go forward, because this pink one that this young fellow has on has become very popular over the last year, and there are a number of them now that are almost like a very light opaque yellow, not the oily finish, but like the light enhancing yellow, only at a very light tint. If it's tinted, they go. High school specific, because we're going to be doing this on Friday. If an athlete receives a UR under Rule 7, Article 7, 8, or 16, which are all the defensive player ones, according, well, I shouldn't say all the defensive player ones. They are all the head related.
Head
penalties.
fouls, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So head leading tackle, head leading block, spearing, and so on. The athlete is sent off the field for 3 plays and a 15-yard penalty. The NBIAA is recommending the coach speak to the player about the incident. If that athlete gets a second UR in the same game for the same penalty in that classification, they are
Doesn't say
removed.
that.
I'm sorry?
Doesn't say the same
No, it
penalty.
says second UR. It doesn't say anything about a head foul. That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay, so that's what,
The intent here is that same rule, Bill.
same rule.
Two of those types of fouls.
Okay, let's make sure that everybody knows that because
That's in their manual. That is in
Okay.
their operating regulations.
all right.
Okay,
No, but what Bill's alluding to, it says second UR. So
Yeah,
what
it
he's
should
saying
be-
is if a kid gets a head leading block and then a face mask, he should be out. But that's not what they want
No,
here.
it's-
It's two,
that's not
it's the
what's-
head leading fouls that they're talking about.
yeah, I'm exactly right, Andrew. I'm just trying to find it here.
It's the
This
wording
stuff-
is terrible.
Is this something that you made up, Al, or is this a copy out of their document?
This is, I had to erase some of it because they've actually included the football New Brunswick one in it. I'm just trying to find it right here.
But their wording, Bill, is second UR. But what they are alluding to is the URs they're talking about up above. That
So
is their,
operating regulation number 11. An athlete receives a UR which violates Football Canada article, doesn't say what rule, Article 7, 8, or 16 during the game, and it's recorded by the official. The athlete is sent off the field for 3 plays, and we recommend the coach speak with the player about the incident. The athlete gets their second UR in the same game. They are removed for the remainder of the game, but not necessarily the next game, unless determined by the official that it was a flagrant foul with the intent to injure. So what they want is if a player takes a second head-related UR, that player is gone for 3 plays.
I understand what you mean, but if a coach reads that and a player gets a second UR, he's going to be screaming, why isn't he out of the game? And if one of our referees reads that and isn't clear that it's alluding to the same rule, they're gonna take the guy out of the game.
yeah, it's poorly written, but that is their intent.
No, well, let's rewrite it and make sure everybody understands.
But it's
And
not
if-
for us to rewrite, Bill. It's in the MBIA document. It's
Well,
their
let's-
document.
Okay, well, the coaches are gonna be referring to this, and some of them are gonna go by the letter of the law.
I would love to fully agree with you, Bill, that some coaches are going to read this. We had a coach last year yell at us that there's no, can't remember the wording he used. When we took a player over and told him that they're out for 3 plays, he thought it was a made up rule that we had.
Yeah, they don't read this stuff.
No.
I
So
hope
it-
I'm wrong. That's all I'll say. I hope I'm wrong.
It's
So
it's been written this way for about 3 or 4 years, Bill. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's right, but this is the wording it's been for 3 or 4 years since
And
they
I will-
started.
I will rewrite this, not rewrite it, but in that second UR, I will put a bracket with under rule 7, 7, 8, 16. And have Ray send that off to Perry and all to make sure that they are aware.
Yeah.
So simply put, the first time they get a foul under that classification, it's a 15-yard penalty. They're removed for 3 plays. The second time, it's a 15-yard penalty and they're removed for the remainder of the game.
It is not ejected. That's important, folks. He's removed from the game.
Yeah.
He's not ejected.
Okay, technical timeout. This is one that came up. Bill, when did this one come into existence? 15 years ago?
Oh,
About-
at least, yeah.
Coaches still don't know how to do it, so it's our responsibility to make sure the coaches know how that we enforce it the way it's supposed to be done. It's when a coach has a question about how an application occurs and what the interpretation of the call is. It's not the question calls. It's got to be called before the next play has been whistled in. They're allowed one timeout, technical timeout per half. They cannot carry them over from half to half. And they're allowed 1 in overtime. Teams are to remain in their huddle. There's no communication, which means players cannot go to the bench. Water people and coaches cannot come out to the players. If they do, it's a 10-yard objectionable conduct penalty. Upon a coach's technical timeout, both coaches, one from each team, will come to a neutral area with the head coach and the line umpire. It's not an argument. Yep, go ahead, Robert.
No, Chris.
Chris?
Who gets that OC?
Well,
me?
let's,
Who gets the OC if that happens? Because we have the rule, if you get multiples, you're removed from play.
Yeah.
So are we giving this to the head coach because he or she has not informed their team that they're not allowed to bring water out or communicate or any of that stuff?
I know
Guys,
exactly.
we need to be reasonable with that. If there's a technical
Right.
on the field and it's hot and they want to bring water out and it's reasonable to do so, let them bring water out.
That's let me finish the document. Okay, let me finish the document. It's like coaches, people, we have officials get their, sorry, deep breath. We have officials that get wired because players take their helmets off on a hot day. Let me finish the document. I'll add some of the other stuff, and Jack, yes, we'll include that also. Okay. Andrew, I know what my answer is going to be. What do you think who should the OC be charged against?
well, the OC would have to be against the head coach, but in regards to that, my first statement would be when this is starting to transpire, you tell the assistant coach, because the head coach is going to be with you. You tell the assistant coach, coach, you can't do that. And if he goes back to the sideline, there's no issues. That's my thoughts.
I agree full-heartedly.
Okay.
Okay,
Proactive, folks. Proactive.
Rob St. Pierre, you had a question?
Yeah. Does this apply to AFL, or is this
Same
just
thing.
your local?
Yeah,
Well,
same
okay.
thing with AFL.
Al, you sure about that? MFL has adopted it. I don't think AFL has,
I
have
don't
they?
have it right here in my pocket, but I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay, you might want to check that to clarify, because I know MFL has adopted this. I didn't think AFL had.
I just sent the AFL on-field rules out just last week, and I can't access it right now because of the
I'll
PowerPoint.
go see if I can find that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there, Al.
Pardon me?
I
You don't
don't
think it is?
believe it's there, no. I don't recall it ever being there.
Okay, Andrew, you're going to check for me?
I'm looking here now. I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Okay, and Robert, we'll confirm that in just a minute. So if we get into an argument with the coach, the penalty is a loss of any further technical timeout, and a loss of 10 yards. If it's in the second half, it's a 15-yard penalty that would occur. Ideally, the process here is for a coach who's confused about what happened. Speak with the coach, bring the coaches together, speak with them, find out what the issue is, and then let them know why it was applied in such a manner. As Jack was alluding to, we're going to be in the fall. If it's hot, tell the players to take their helmets off. Allow water people to come onto the field. Don't allow coaches to bring it out, because then we're going to get into, they've got a coach on the field foolishness. But Jack is exactly right. If it's hot and humid, get water into those kids. But it's not meant to be used as a timeout for teams. Okay. Anything else that we should add to this? Or not add to it, but needs to be discussed?
So back to the 10-yard thing, one thing I do to avoid another flag, which you know how much I dislike, I tell coaches pregame, if you start bitching and whining, I'm just going to walk away, and the technical timeout is over. Unless they go belligerent on me, I'm not throwing a 10-yard flag. I'm walking away, and it's over with.
It's important to understand the intent of this rule. This
Yeah.
was brought in to improve communication between the officials and the sideline. And there are certain plays that it's not beyond reason that the referee may initiate their own explanation of what went on without charging anybody with a timeout. But the important thing is to communicate. And if you do that, you won't have a problem.
Totally agree, Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
So Al, under AFL game day rules, there is no mention of a technical timeout.
There you go, Robert. No technical timeout for coaches at the AFL.
It's just MFL. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions about this? Sometimes if we can prevent it from happening, it's a whole lot easier if we can give an answer or make sure that we communicate, as Bill alluded to, well with the coaches or captains. Sometimes it saves us getting into this dilemma.
And what Bill talked about is quicker too. If you do that proactively, instead of having a technical timeout, go over where both coaches can hear you if there's something screwy happening on the field and tell them what's going on. And then just move on.
All right. So stop sharing again because I got to go to another one. Jeez, we're almost on schedule. This is frightening, boys. Okay, so go back here. Jack Kingston, you still there?
I am. Yes,
Good.
I am.
My apologies. I didn't mean to bark at you.
All good here. I was just trying to move it on. No worries.
No. Okay. All right. So the last one I have is a couple of play clips that we can take a quick look at. Why is that one still there?
Al, just before you go on, are we going to open it up to a couple of more items to talk about afterwards, or?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, most certainly. The ones that you sent to me.
Well,
or others?
another one came up as well. The issue of drones. I'd like to clarify that.
Bill, I have a slide on I have a slide on that. I've tackled all that with the NBA today, and you'll see a slide on drones and a few of your other concerns.
Where are those slides, Ray?
They're when you look at the slide after Al's video, they're all there.
What about headsets, Ray? You talked about maybe using those in some situations.
Yeah, we talked about wearing them in the games that have 7 officials. I'm trying to gather 7 radios from current AUS members. And if I can get all 7, then we will use them for our first Thursday night 7-man crew on the 19th.
Okay.
All right, let's do this now before I go through the plays. I'm not sure I have the slides that you're referring to about the drones and whatnot.
It was in the latest one I just sent you. I just sent you an email around 6:30-ish.
Okay, sorry guys.
Do you want to send it back? Do you want to send me?
Well, I'm just trying to find out where it is. Penalty applications. So the last one that I received from you, the crew stuff, there was halftime, the game timing, pregame, end zone.
Look at slide 12. Slide 12.
Good night.
Ray, are you going to talk about timing signals another time as well, or?
No, I'm going to talk about it tonight
Okay.
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why'd that go blue on me?
Well, just tell us what's in it briefly, Ray.
Oh, I got it here. Just a
Circulate
second.
it here.
Monday night meetings.
Ray, one of your members is still using their AUS radio because they reprogrammed it to work like a normal radio.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I gotta go back to here, share screen. And go to here. Oh my God.
So go down one slide.
There we go. Is that what the one?
That's the one. So in speaking with the with Perry today in the MBIA, the wording that they've used, our teams are allowed to use drones, They're allowed to fly them over their bench and the end zone that they're defending. The drones are not to be allowed to be hovering over the field of play or over the visitors or the other team's bench at any time. The key point on this is we don't have we don't have the authority. Like if somebody complains about the way a drone is being used, it's a league issue. It's not our issue. So all we can do is inform the coach of the team that's using the drone to let them know what the MBI rule is. And white hats, in your game report after the game, you're going to have to state what was going on the field with the drone. The biggest thing is at no point from the time that we take our initial setup for the kickoff at 7 o'clock, at that point, the drone has got to be off the field. Does that answer that question, Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent.
So they can be used over your bench and your defending end zone, but not the opponent's bench.
Exactly.
What about an
Coaches-
official drone?
What's that?
What if, like, so you bought a drone. If you brought your drone there, what's the guideline for you?
So the NBFOA officials will have access to both end zones as well as the opposite sideline from the team benches.
Over the sticks, in other words.
That's right. The
Okay.
side that the sticks are on, we'll have that sideline to fly our drone, and we'll have access to both end zones.
So both sidelines, both end zones.
That's right.
For
No,
us. For us.
we will not fly it on the team bench, especially if they've got their own drones flying up in that area.
Okay.
We'll stay to the other side of the field.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm assuming this has to be outside of the field of play, even when it's in the end zone.
Yes, it's got to be outside of the end zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, in-helmet QB communication. The NBI is advised there will be no use of the in-helmet communications between an offensive coordinator, coach, and the quarterback for 2024. This is something they're working towards. They're just not there yet. Should we witness communication, the quarterback talking to a coach through a helmet? Again, we approach the head coach. We give them a warning. And again, write it up in your post-game write-up that the quarterback was suspected to have been speaking on a microphone in the helmet to a coach. And that's going to be a difficult thing. But yeah, they've made a decision. No use of these communications are allowed for 2024.
Just so everybody's
Wouldn't-
aware, this equipment is not large and cumbersome. It pops into a helmet very quickly. It's basically an earbud that the quarterback or any other player can have in their ear, and the coach on the sideline usually has a small mic like we have with our walkie-talkies that we use. It's not a big cumbersome piece of equipment like even those sideline headsets the coaches wear. So if you notice it, as Ray says, bring it to the coach's attention that you're aware that there's communication going on, goes in your write-up to be sent into Ray at the end of the game.
It doesn't get penalized for illegal equipment?
Well, we can't confirm that they're actually doing it. So
yeah, anything that we come up with, we suspect he's using illegal equipment, but it's just so vague right now, Jim. The best we can do is, as I said to him, the best we can do is pass on to the coach. We suspect he's talking on a microphone and put it in our post-game write-up for the league to deal with it. It's not our issue.
I won't bark long. I've made my point.
Yeah.
Well, and Jim,
get it.
technically it's not illegal equipment because the rule now allows for it. The league may not, but the rule allows for it, right? So it's,
Yeah.
at this point, it's not illegal equipment unless the league says it is. And that's for them to deal with, not us.
So what if you
Okay.
say, if you said to the quarterback, just inadvertently, are you using communication equipment? And he inadvertently says yes. Now you know.
You
Yeah,
would
but
buy,
even then, it's a league rule.
Yeah.
So we tell the league and they deal with it. It's not our rule, right? Because our rules now allow for it. The league says they can't use it, so it's
Yes.
their issue, not ours.
But then wouldn't it fall into, as Jim said, illegal equipment?
No,
If
illegal
it's
equipment.
now known.
But that's only by the league standards, not by our rule book standards.
Yeah, just like, 2 URs involving the head.
So
Right.
in the final game, I'm going to use illegal equipment then. In the championship game. Why not?
During the technical timeout.
Really?
you're like, all of your comments are right. But as we were told at the rules committee, that it's a league issue if they want to use them or not.
Right.
It's a league issue when Ray was to get back in contact with Perry, it could be very easily the league will decide that if we catch a team using the in-helmet communication, they will be penalized as an objectionable conduct. And then the league can carry on from there.
Right.
And maybe, Ray, that's an option to send off to Perry.
Yeah.
But he has to tell his league that you have decided not to use them. If a player is caught using in-helmet communication, it would be a 10-yard objectionable conduct penalty charged against the head coach. And then information going to be forwarded on anyhow.
Right. And they haven't given us that information. Their information they've
They
given us
haven't.
is, yeah, tell us it's happening. That's the information they've given us and they will deal with it.
Yeah. At this point, all they've communicated with us is how they want to handle if we come across it. Not yet. So this is the rule we'll put in place to start the year, and then we'll adapt from there based on how many times this happens. And really, I don't think it'll be, well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
It's not as expensive as people thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guardian caps are now considered legal equipment, and communication will follow from Football Canada. We've had that communication. It hasn't come out publicly yet, but it will. And the high schools have been advised that players that want to wear these Guardian caps, they're allowed to do that during regular season. Perry's looking for something from Football Canada that says these Guardian caps got some kind of stamp on them to let you know they're official.
Right.
But we're waiting more to hear from Football Canada how they're going to handle that. But we should have communication on that by the end of the week, wouldn't you say, Al? We were supposed to have it by the end of last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes. Will we have it by the end of this week? I don't know. That's 2 days away, 3 days away.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I've spoke with Kelsey Johnson, and he said that the information is coming out. They are approved for wear. Eric LeBlanc, you can help me on this one. If a player comes on the field with them wearing one over top of his helmet, it's permitted. I believe they have a strap that goes underneath. Is that correct, Eric? I have never seen one live.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, that should be strapped. If a player who is wearing a Guardian cap gets grabbed by that cap, we treat it just like it would be grabbing his helmet or her helmet. And we would be calling it as a under the face mask rule penalty. If a guardian hat cap comes off during the play, nothing happens. It's not a helmet. It's protected layer over top of the helmet. So if it comes off during play, play continues. It's not like a helmet.
Yeah, so the gist of it and how they do it at the higher leagues, you treat it like a towel if it comes off. You throw it aside, or you ask the person to step off the field. You're not giving them time to put it back on. If it gets ripped off, then that's a UR.
All right. But hopefully we'll have word from Football Canada and the CFOA within days, hopefully very few days.
So Eric, you mentioned if it gets ripped off, it's a UR. If I get my hand inside and torque the head with it, that would still be a UR even if the guardian cap stays on?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, treat it like
Okay.
you would a face mask standard.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, that I'm not sure how we're going to implement it at this league. That's just how we've done it
No,
at the
but
other.
that's how it's done at CFL. Yeah, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Any other
And
questions?
I assume Al, Football Canada is gonna make reference that to us, or will that come from the CFOA?
I would assume this Football Canada will include it in their permission to use them.
Okay.
Or it may come from Henry. I'm not sure. Sorry.
Okay.
Any other questions on the guardian caps or in helmet communication? The new things on the block? Week 1 schedule. Hook up with your partners. Know who can drive, who can't. Make sure you get the jersey to Andrew so he can wear one. You saw the script for our pre-games. Use those going forward. Ray, you said something about halftime. Is it 12 minutes?
Halftime for high school is 12 minutes now
12
versus
minutes, okay.
14 last year.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So any questions from Ray's last group of slides? Okay. I promise
Bill,
you.
did we get all your concerns in there? I'm pretty sure we got all your concerns, but
You're muted, Bill.
I'm in signals.
Muted, Bill.
The timing signals.
Oh, yes.
Officials at the Eastern Canadians and the Football Canada Cup were told that only the covering official should be the one to stop the time signal.
yeah, I think we jumped over that slide there in
I'm
the
sorry.
box. But basically what I said there is, please keep in mind the mirroring of signals are not needed when working with a field that has an elevated experienced timer. But most of our high school fields, the timer's on the sidelines, so the mirroring of signals is encouraged, especially by the line judge and the referee.
Yeah.
And reffing timing signals should take place back behind the QB and penalty applications up at the ball between the huddles.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Alrighty. So I've got to open another one of the. Oh no, it's already open. Hello. So just a couple of play clips here that I'm going to go through fairly quickly. So continuously we're hearing about this move to get head contact out of the games. Many times the issue becomes deciding whether the contact is a UR or if it's truly a target. If you think there's head contact and you have a pretty strong suspicion, in today's day and age, it's probably be a good move to penalize it. The question then becomes, do we upgrade it to a target? And sometimes that requires some further searching of what you saw happen and even asking some crewmates who may have had a look also. Okay, so here's the first play. This came from the MFL beginning of the year. Start this right here. So problem with this is trying to slide it back. The issue becomes when we see a player who is going to their knees or is going down, who's a ball carrier, and a defender coming in and leaning in towards the ball player's upper body, we need to start thinking about what part of the anatomy is going to be hit. So in this case, the flag was thrown for targeting, whether it was an MFL target or a regular target. The guy went after the opponent's head and made contact with it. So do I have a high foul? Yes. Throw the flag. Then discuss whether there's anything else to go on with it. This came from last week's game in Mount A.
Yeah.
You'll watch a catch, hit, and lower. Come on. You're going to watch the player coming out of the slot back position. Sorry, tight end position. Ball is thrown, catch, land, turn. What's one of the key things that you're going to look at when you're trying to establish whether they might have a head leading tackle or a hit to the head?
Get his head down and leading with it. Appears
he's torpedoing, head down, looking at the ground, arms are back, etc. So then if we want to figure out, do we have a target? Then we need to determine that head down, contact is going to be made at the head neck area, and he elevates up and through the player. It's kind of hard to tell if he really elevates up and through since he dies over top of him. This gentleman and lady is a target. We need to have a flag on it indicating that we have a UR at least, and then a decision needs to be made on, do we have an upgrade to a targeting call?
So can I ask a question before we
On
move
that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Not that particular play, but this issue.
Yeah.
So for us who work AUS stuff, we have been told at that level, I'm not implying this goes to other levels. We have been told at other levels, if we think we have a target, at the very least, we have a UR. Okay? Even if we're not 100% sure there was head contact, if we think we have a target, we have a UR. The question I ask, Ray, do you want the same thing done at the NBFOA level? Because that has never been communicated if who does. Because in the past, we've always said, you have to know you have a foul, right?
Right.
That's the question I put out there. It doesn't have to be answered right now, but if that's the direction we want to go, my suggestion is you send direction out to the whole administrator or membership so they understand that.
No, I agree. And we'll also send that to Perry too. And I just think when it comes to head contact, I have been copied in a couple emails from the MBIA, really stressing the importance of getting head contact out of the game. So I know they'll agree with that standard 100%.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Oh, sorry. So we're watching 25 come in. The player's already going to the ground. Do we have a foul? Now we know there's going to be a flag come out. Do we have a flat foul? Yes. What other things do we need to start asking ourselves and our crewmates of, do we upgrade it or do we leave it at a UR? And what are some of the questions we need to ask? Do we lead with his head, lead with his shoulder, his forearm? Where did he hit the opponent? And so on. And as Andrew said, sometimes it's easiest to get the UR and go from there.
Sometimes if you're the referee, it's a matter of saying, tell me what you saw.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then talk about what maybe you've gotten as a foul.
Okay. So the new rules that we just talked about a moment ago is the player going out of bounds. So we're going to watch this little clip as it comes up. We'll watch this player right here. He's the guy in question. Goes out of bounds. Can they come back in and play? Okay.
I hear he was knocked out of bounds. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's pushed out of bounds by the player in white. So for all intents and purposes, if I can stop this right. So under the new ruling, this guy really has been considered that they've never left the field. So can come back in and continue to play without penalty since they were pushed out by an opponent. Okay. The next three clips, is there a foul or not? Is there a foul that needs to be called? So in the first one, the question is about the alignment of the team in white. So I'll help you out here. The line, this is the line of scrimmage. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, did I skip one? 5, 6, 7. And unfortunately, you can't see it, but there's a guy out here where my cursor is. Is this a foul in that lineup? Okay, and we have another player out here. So we have 8 players on the line. Is this a foul?
Not yet,
Why not yet?
because there's no rule says you can't have 8 players on the line. You have to have a minimum of 7.
Okay. So with that in mind,
So I'll just be devil's advocate here, Arliss, for discussion purposes. The fact that that 8th player has an eligible number, is that a factor?
Has an eligible number?
No, it doesn't.
He
Yeah, it
has
doesn't
an eligible
matter.
number. Let's say he's number 88. So by number, he can go downfield and catch the ball.
By
Yeah, that's
number, he
fine.
can, but by position, he may not be able to. There's no foul until we see some further action. That formation, as it exists right there, is totally legal. Now, what the players do after the snap may create a foul, but as it exists right there, there is no foul.
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
Correct. Consider the line of scrimmage. We have a rule in the line of scrimmage. That's the minimum standards that have to be met. You can have more than what's required for there, but you have to have those minimums. And in this situation, you do. Here's the unfortunate part about this slide. This slide has nothing to do with 8 men on the line, but I'm glad we brought the topic up. In actual fact, I said, so with that all said, does everybody understand the concept that Arliss and Andrew and Jim just alluded to? That if we have 8 players on the line, there's nothing wrong with that. When the play goes, what this player, and if we had a tight end here, do, or what they do, may lead to a penalty if they do what?
They go downfield for a pass.
If they go downfield. Okay, because if you watch some games, you'll hear player 88 was made ineligible because they were covered up. So that's basically the same situation here. Andrew said it's a minimum standard to have 7. You could have 11 players across the line of scrimmage here. Now you're going to have more players report and whatnot, as long as you have eligibles at each end, and away we go. Okay. Here's the question. I want you to watch what this guy does, our end here. Okay, is his movement okay?
See
It's
down
hard
at
to see.
point
Yeah,
stand?
is he in a 3-point or a 2-point? It looks
He's
like
in a
he's
2-point stance. He's in a
Okay.
2, but he's very low. So
Is
the
he allowed to
question,
snap up that quickly?
he's allowed to move down the line, but is he doing it as a football maneuver, or is he doing it in an attempt to draw the defense offside? And that's a judgment call.
okay. So as you say, he moves very quickly. Exaggerated move. When does it become a penalty if he does that?
If the defense goes offside, if that is a tactic to try to get the defense to go offside, then it is a penalty on the offense.
Right. So correct. So
It'd
as
be a penalty
Arliss
right
alluded to, if this movement that he's doing is meant as a deceptive move to get the defense to react, then it's his foul. Okay.
But
And
the
it's
defense didn't react.
the smoke
Look at
alarm?
the player that's covering them.
Exactly. That's right. So in this situation, that movement he made doesn't mean a hill of beans, because nobody broke the defensive side of the neutral zone.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
You just made a note earlier that when a whole defense or offensive line goes in a 2-point and snaps to a 3-point, that's an automatic foul.
Yes, but the difference is in the rule book, Patrick, when you look up snap down, it's a specific thing in the rule book. It's got its own definition and everything, and what the penalty is for it. Deception has to be deemed to be something that is meant to draw the defense offside. So this move, is it meant to be deceptive? Probably. But if it is, it's just a normal move, and it only becomes a foul if the defense reacts to it. I'm not sure if I worded that the way I
Our
wanted
move
to.
would have been for the defensive end to go in.
Yeah, so if this guy jumps up like he did, okay, so he jumps up quick in exaggerated motion, and the defensive end believes that he's getting ready to go and he jumps in, then we have a foul on the offense. Okay, because of the way in which he makes that motion. Again, it's something that, as an official, you have to deem that it's meant to deceive the defense into reacting incorrectly. Okay, next one. This is the one where we have all the guys. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're not going to debate this one anymore. We already know the answer. It's not a foul until that guy was to go downfield or that guy was to go downfield, as long as they are wearing eligible numbers. Okay.
Didn't mean to steal your thunder, Al.
That's right.
I thought this was the one we were on.
Good. Well, no, I got it buggered up. Anyhow, so here's the last one, I believe it is. And it's one about evaluating whether a foul has a bearing on the play or not. Okay, so just so you know what happened. This is a kickoff at the U18 Women's Nationals in Fredericton. The ball is kicked. And you're going to watch these two players right here. We watch them, watch them, watch them. Ball's gone to the other side. And we have a flag for holding right here. Now, here's the interesting thing. This official down here, can't tell if it's already thrown or not. I'll let it land on the ground so you see it. Has a flag right here because the ball was kicked directly out of bounds. Is this penalty needed?
No.
No. Remember, when we talk about holding, and in the rule book it says, does the foul, the holding foul, have a bearing on the play? Ball's kicked right out of bounds. Her holding her is not going to prevent her from getting down there to watch the ball run out of bounds. How do we best try not to throw that foul?
Talk to the players. Move on, move on.
Yeah, talk to them. What else?
Take a look at the ball, see where it is, what it's doing.
Yeah, where the ball is, what it's doing. Okay. The interesting thing is that the official right here is throwing her flag at the same time this official is throwing her flag. So take a quick look. We've all got an idea of where the ball's going. Take a quick look, see what's happening. Do we think this player would ever have a chance to get there to make a tackle? Well, maybe if the ball busts up this way. So it's just one of those things, especially for minor fouls. Take our time, find the ball, do a quick evaluation of what's happening with the ball. Where is it? What's happening related to the ball? And is what I'm calling right here have any bearing on what might be happening down here right now? So it's just take our time, evaluate the process. And so, do you know what we ended up doing in this situation? We ended up balancing it off and kicking it off again. So it's actually, no, it was a 5-yard difference when we really didn't need to have the penalty. So just take our time, look to see what's happening, and go from there.
So Al, can I expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, as long as I don't have to go back and show you the video.
No. So
Okay.
in this situation, the ball was kicked right out of bounds. So that is somewhat obvious to us that it didn't have an impact on the play. So let's say the same kick stayed inbounds and the girl ran up the field maybe 2 or 3 yards and was automatically tackled. And this hold happened back at midfield. Is that a flag we shouldn't be holding? Because it happened, sure, she held that other girl, but it had zero impact on what happened. Zero. And so what Al was alluding to, take a look, see where the ball is, see what the effect of the play is, and then rule on whether this foul has an impact or not. And that's especially true on kicking plays.
Take her time. Take her time.
Al,
Yes.
I have a question that relates to this out of bounds stuff because I've been sitting thinking since you're showing the last clip. You don't have to show the last clip again. I won't make you do that.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm thinking of, you said the player blocked out of bounds is like he never went out of bounds.
Correct.
So
Penalty
if
wise,
he's-
sorry. Penalty wise.
Okay, so he's blocked out of bounds. The ball comes close to the sideline. While standing out of bounds, he reaches back in to grab the ball.
Can't do it.
Illegal participation.
Correct.
He has to reestablish himself full inbounds with a minimum of 1 foot and no body part out of bounds. Then he can touch the ball.
Correct.
Okay.
That's part of the ending of that new rule.
Okay, no, that's fine.
That
Your comment about for the purpose he never went out of bounds. And they're thinking, whoa, hang on. Okay, great, thank you. That's clarification needed.
And that's not just the ball, Arliss. If he's still out of bounds, he can't grab the carrier either until he's established back in bounds.
So as far as penalty to the player who has been pushed out of bounds, slid out of bounds, missed a block, whatever it happens to be, they are allowed to return without penalty, like they have not gone out of bounds. But they need to return before they can get involved in the play. Clear as mud. Ray, are you still there or have you gone? You were there a second ago. Okay, I'm going to stop recording this.